Hello. I'm not feeling that great, and I says I was taking a break from YouTube, but knowing me, I can't stay away from YouTube that long, and the paranormal is a major part of my life at this point, and it's never far from my mind. Yes, I've been doing some thinking lately, and we have been doing a lot of thinking throughout our podcasts, both on my channel, on Earthly Wanderings channel, and on World Paranormal's channel. You know, about the paranormal itself, and how it's investigated. You know? Now, some of you may know that I own almost every piece of paranormal items and devices that paranormal industries have provided, and I hate to say it, a lot of the time I felt like I got scammed. So, you know, you get into the paranormal because you watch TV shows and it's all very exciting on TV and stuff, and then reality hits, and sometimes reality doesn't hit people. They go on with the same script, as I've been telling you about the script. Some continue that script for a bit of excitement on a Saturday or Sunday night, but some of us really want to know what the paranormal is about, and really want to get proper evidence. And I kept questioning myself, does these devices actually, do they help us or do they hinder us? And I think in most cases they actually bring up more questions, so it actually hinders us. Now, there was a channel that was Phantasma Paranormal, brought up a video some time ago, and it was from a channel called Paranormal Tedium. And in that video, the guy, I can't remember what your name is, please forgive me, him and his friend had a white coat on, and they were holding a PSP-7 in their hand, and they really came down heavy on this PSP-7 and ITC and all the rest of it, and I really give them a hard time. And I think it may not have gone down well, because actually I don't think that video is available on the channel anymore. You know, my argument is that, you know, with the ITC, it's not just a matter of turning on a radio. It takes years. It takes connection. It takes a lot of things which scientifically aren't proven, I know, but all I know, and all, you know, many know, that sometimes we get stuff on these radios that we can't explain. But as far as the other videos, I completely and totally agree. Now, he's done videos on EM pumps, torches, EMF meters, REM pods, and many other devices that the paranormal ghost hunting industry provide. You know, those kind of small tacky devices with flipping flashy lights that don't do an awful lot. And sometimes you what's going through your head you cannot put into words. But the way this guy explains this, and he actually does more research into the electronics part of things, I feel like he explains it very well. which is very good. You know, in the line of these torches, you know, this method of now, not many people use it, but some people do, where you turn the end of the torch to the point where it's almost connecting but isn't, and then you put it on a table or on a surface and ask questions. Turn on the light for yes and turn it off for no. And heat expansion is part of that connection. It's not paranormal at all. You know, he goes into detail, and he does come down heavy on most paranormal channels, and I get it. I mean, like, recently I watched a video on of EMF meter, and he says, I do not know where the theory that spirits give off EMF came up with. He says I've looked into it, I've researched it, I don't know where it came from. I think it came from flipping Zach Bagans on Ghost Adventures, where way back they used to say it's a theory that spirits give off energy, and these energy is picked up on EMF meters and stuff like that. You know, there's no scientific basis around that. It's still a fucking theory. So why are we still? I don't know. Why are we still going down that route? You know, when, you know, for the last 10, 12 or so years, hasn't been sort of proven. I don't know. It's very difficult. Now, I understand some ghost hunting groups like going out and the flashing lights gives excitement to a video and stuff like that. But to the true paranormal, he does explain that not a lot of people question these things. You know, and it was that deep conversation that, you know, it's a conversation that needs to be had, you know. I wrote a comment on Julie's Unearthly Wondering page about the podcast and stuff, and what we need, you know, what should we talk about and stuff. And this triggered me off to talking about this, you know. When you think about it, the last 20 years, our advancements in the technology have been absolutely fantastic. The advancements in paranormal technology has been absolutely shit. You know, the last 13, 14, 15 years, REM pods, EMF meters, motion sensors, that's about it. And all produce more questions than answers. When these devices go off, no matter if you ask a question or not, you can't 100% prove that the reason why those devices went off was because of paranormal energy. Very often, people don't even ask questions until the device goes off, and possibly the device had planned to go off for the next little while you're asking the questions, making you think that paranormal energy is manipulating these devices. It's not concrete, and that's why it adds to the question. But the thing is, we've had all these advancements in technology over the last 20 years in our everyday lives. You know, in all kinds of technologies, cameras and stuff like that. And, you know, the benefits of the paranormal is the actual you know, the visuals and that. Camera technology, yes, it's advanced and it helps. But between, you know, visuals and audio, what else do we actually have that's advanced in the paranormal field? We don't have very much. It's way behind mainstream technology, and possibly the reason for that is because advancements in technologies involve money and involve profit, and there's not possibly no profit in the paranormal. But you know, we've got to ask ourselves at this stage, is there technology that's available now that's not being used in the paranormal but could be used to benefit the paranormal rather than add more complications and more questions into the mix? You know, watching somebody like Paranormal teaching, that's good. It gives you a sort of a more clear understanding of some of the pitfalls of, you know, devices marketed at a very high price to people that want to do ghost hunting. And the question is, we could talk about the pitfalls of these items and devices till the cows come home. You know, the question is, what do we do about it? What's the solution? How can we make things better? What can replace these items that add more questions than answers? What will add to an investigation in a positive way that would put us in a better direction to finding out what the paranormal really is? The other thing I've been thinking about is, when you think of a TV paranormal script, how it's fed to us on the TV, and people mimic that, is that directing us down a wrong path as well? Now, you know, I can put my hand up and say I've gone out, you know, at weekends and done ghost hunting and tried, you know, some of the devices and that, and sometimes they couldn't be arsed, and we've gone out to the woods and. But the question I have, is that the right way to do it? Because the reason I'm bringing this up is, recently we've had a query about a incident in a family home. Now, I can't go into a huge amount of details about it, but the family wanted to know more about what was going on in their home and how to get rid of it, because it's been causing a bit of a problem, you know. And calling up some ghost hunters to bring some REM pods and EMF detectors and stuff and flashy balls into their house is not going to cut it. It really isn't, you know. And you know, I have been sick, so Rachel went, and she rang me up and she says, I have to go tonight. And that nice is right. Ask plenty of questions. You know, gather as much information as you possibly can. And Rachel's very good at asking questions and getting that information. I says, the only thing you need with you right now is either a pen and a piece of paper, or get permission off them to record your questions and answers on your telephone, to get a full idea of what is going on. Because at the end of the day, you know, you're talking about people that are looking for relief from something that's happening in their house that is scaring them, is hurting them, etc. You know, And when I looked at it, when I looked at the whole situation in my head, I was saying to Rachel, you know, a ghost hunting style approach isn't going to cut it in this particular case. You know, we're going to need the information first, possibly medical history if possible. I don't know what you're like about asking for those things, effects of possible medication or whatever. Try to rule all that shit out before doing anything. And to be honest with you, to get any kind of answer to that particular case isn't going to take 1 or 2 nights in a you know, in a ghost hunting type of scripted scenario. It's just not going to work, you know. And we discussed you know, possible CCTV, long period of time of CCTV, audio recordings on a long-term basis. That takes a lot of reviewing, I know, but that's all we have at the moment is audio and visuals. So, you know, we've been trying to think of other things, what we can do, but a real paranormal investigation where you're trying to help somebody, it's an extremely difficult one. Then, you know, when you think about it, no matter what people do, well, we're only exposed to ghost hunting sort of thing. I know you get this script, you know, where, you know, the ghost hunters go into this house. Oh, this family reached out to us because their son has been experiencing this and that, and we're going to try and help them tonight. And they go in and they have a REM pod in the middle of the floor and it's going off, and EMF is spiking while they're asking questions and stuff, and they just jump to conclusions that the EMF is communication when it's not 100% certain, like, you know. So what do you do there? And then, you know, at the end of it, you know, they get a blessing, they wave a bit of sage around and say prayers and stuff, and next thing, you know, they say at the end, oh, a couple of weeks later, the family messaged us and says, thank you, you know, or we've had no problems since you came and all the rest. It doesn't work like that. It really doesn't, you know. But the question is, what actually does work? You've got loads and loads of channels on YouTube are telling you that this is wrong and that is wrong, and, you know, this is flawed and that is flawed. And the negative side of this is, you know, the negative side to the paranormal industry in the line of methods and devices and stuff. But we don't have very many solutions. And that's where the problem is. It's an extremely difficult one, and one that we need to sort of focus on and need to think. Do you know? And the other problem is, you know, and I'm not putting our community down by saying that most of us that go out and investigate the paranormal are not scientists. You know, in fact, a lot of us know jack shit about science. Yet we're going into a kind of a sciencey field to investigate one of the most difficult sides of science and spirituality. Something that has been attempted to be proved for a very, very long time. It's possibly one of the most difficult jobs when you think about it, because you have a job, you have instructions, you have the boundaries to work in, but in the paranormal there is no boundaries, because the boundaries haven't really been set, because we don't know where them boundaries are. You know, when you think about equipment, it's classed as experimental equipment. Now, when you think of it that way, it's been an experimental piece of equipment for a very long time, you know. And if you want to use your REM pods and EMF meters, you know, go right ahead. But just ask in yourself: is this giving me answers or giving me more questions? Which I said. You know, to me it gives me more questions, because, you know, there's times there where I went out and, you know, I've been in the middle of the arsehole of nowhere, no electricity poles, nothing, and asked questions, and next thing, getting EMF spikes or getting REM pods going off and stuff like that. But is there other frequencies that manipulated that device that I didn't know about and mistaken it for paranormal activity? Or, you know, is that happening? And that's where science needs to give us a hand along these lines, you know, because a lot of us, you know, are not scientists, you know. And I mean, like, at the same time, you got to give the paranormal community, you know, a pat on the back for going out and trying despite minimum knowledge. And I'm speaking for myself as well. Do you know, the question I'm asking as well is the science field, if the science field did become more active in paranormal research, would it help? I would say certainly in the line of the education part of it. I don't know, will it prove the existence of ghosts, but certainly the education part of it, you know. But why is science not more active in the paranormal? Is it money? Is it that there's more money in other research? And possibly, is there minimal benefit in us proving the paranormal? Now, the reason why we want to prove the paranormal, and a lot of us that watch and go out ghost hunting and everything, is that we want to know, when we pass on, what happens to us? That is one of those questions, and people are so passionate about it, and even though they don't have knowledge about it, they're trying whatever they know. And that goes for me as well. You know? I just thought I would think out loud. No, I'm not making this video to piss anyone off. The last while I've been questioning this whole paranormal thing. No, I'm not. It's not that I'm losing interest. I'm actually more interested now than I was, but I'm kind of sick of doing the same stuff with the same results. You know, in the line of equipment, I think the equipment is just, there's shortcomings. Do you know what I'm saying? The only two things I'm certain about is audio and visual. The ITC is another thing, which is it's another thing with a load of mysteries. All I do know is with the radios, there is stuff that comes out and answers to our questions, which is completely impossible in the way some of these radios are scamming. You know, and I love ITC. You know, I have a whole channel dedicated to ITC, and sometimes, you know, I may not be feeling the best or whatever, and I'll turn on the radio, I'll record the session, I may not even ask questions, I'll record for a half an hour or an hour, and I'll put it up on YouTube. I'll research it later on to see if anything comes up on it. And some people, they do the same, some of the viewers and stuff like that. You know, it is a very tricky one, because you kind of have to ask, is it science or is it spirituality that science can't sort of... Science is as limited use for us or something. I don't know. When it comes to the paranormal, is it just purely a spiritual thing, or can it all be proved by science and it's yet not there? I don't know. Certainly over the years I've seen people, you know, making homemade devices for other things. There was one guy, and it was this, I can't remember the channel, but I'm sure if you search in YouTube, a camera that sees Wi-Fi. There was a device, and it was made from little bits of wood and stuff, and it was like a little satellite dish thing with some wire, coils of wire, and it was connected up to a computer and a conventional camera. And this little dish with the coil of wire is pointed in the direction that you pointed in the direction of where you want to find the Wi-Fi, and you take a video image, a conventional video image of the same area, and then overlap it, and you see this kind of cloud of where the Wi-Fi is. And in one of the videos, they pointed towards this derelict building, and there was a Wi-Fi connection, and they couldn't. It was a boarded up building, and they found this. They found this anomaly that their camera was supposed to be picking up this Wi-Fi signal, but they said it couldn't be Wi-Fi signal because the house was boarded up, the building was boarded up for years. It was a kind of a weird one, but I'm kind of surprised that nobody sort of followed up on that in the line of the paranormal. I don't know. I know there's been people, you know, retired engineers and stuff like that, working on paranormal stuff in their retirement and stuff, and that helps a lot. We need to see some of that work in the mainstream, because at the moment we've got this stuff and we don't know where to go with it. I don't know where to go with it. Well, what do I do with a K2 meter? You know, it's what do I do with EMF? What do I do with REM alarm, you know, triggers? What is it? I don't know. You know, it could be communication. It may not. And that's the thing. You know, I do hope that technology will move forward in this, but come up with devices that gives us less questions and more sort of answers. You know, I mean, like, yes, we've done a lot of complaining. You know, there's a lot of people that done a lot of, you know, why REM pods are shit, and why EMF is shit, and why spirit box are crap, and debunking this and debunking that. You know, yeah, well, you know, that still is, it's not 100% helping, because there's nothing. What we need is answers, not doubts, if you know what I mean. We need the positivity side of it. We need what does work, and we need to think about what's available in modern technologies that's used for other things, that's suitable for what we're doing now. When you think about it, a lot of things that, you know, that's involved in the paranormal did derive from other things, like the 3D imaging. You know, the 3D imaging was, you know, a lot of people have shrugged that off, 3D imaging with the stick figure setting, but I think there's room for improvement there. I think we shouldn't completely throw it in the bin. And that technology was for a couple of games on the Xbox 360, you know, and the games weren't totally successful, but the paranormal community thought this might be a great device. And that, you know, there's a positivity in trying these things and trying them out, and because they've dug that deep, you know, you've got to admire them for that. The question is, with something like that, a 3D imaging camera, what can we do to improve that? You know, but then again, information isn't going out. You know, people are walking around with these 3D imaging cameras and walking around with them, you know, with a pistol grip. When these cameras, they're designed for stationary use. You can't, if you move them, the 3D image is made from measuring tiny little lasers. You might see some of my investigations of Sharon Rectory, where there's little tiny little annoying green dots everywhere. That is at least true of these Xbox cameras going around the location, and I thought they were a bit annoying, to be honest with you. But those little lasers bounce off a solid object, and the camera measures the length of each laser to be able to produce a 3D image on the particular object that it's facing and stuff like that. Now the stick figure thing, I don't know about that, but the 3D software would be useful, but there's room for improvement, and I hope that people with some sort of expertise in that line do make it better, because it's not a lot of people say, oh, the Xbox camera's crap. A lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about it, but the fact is most of the people are not using the camera properly. They're walking around, and if you're walking around, the laser beams are moving as well and are taking up a different measurement every second, and it's not got time to calibrate. The camera needs to be calibrated, and every time the camera moves, it has to recalibrate. So when you're walking around with it, the camera doesn't get a chance to calibrate properly, you know. But that kind of technology, there's possibilities there, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I'm going to leave for now because I'm just relaxing and stuff like that. I just thought, you know, this stuff is going through my head. I just thought I'd let it out. Hopefully, I'll be back on the mend soon, sort of thing. How I'm going to approach the future, I've got some time to think about it, and I have been thinking about it for a while, and I'm still sort of confused, because the reason I'm having this conversation is because you know, how do we approach the paranormal into the future? It's a good topic to talk about, you know. And the big question about working on a ghost hunter script from TV shows, is it actually going down the completely wrong route altogether, or is there anything useful from that we can learn and bring into the future? Do we completely forget about it and approach it from a completely different way? You know, it's a good conversation to sort of have, and we need to question a lot of these things every so often in order to make things better, you know. But this conversation probably hasn't bared a while lot of fruit in my line of answers, but I thought I would throw the questions. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to finish my tea here, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.